Well, welcome everyone. Back from Dallas with a traveling party of 20, and we had a great time. Enjoyed the Texas atmosphere and barbecue and what have you. Our football team did very well down there. Played with heart and soul. It's tough when you go down there and you don't have some linemen with you and you get hurt, banged up a little bit. And Alabama's a good football team. So that's I think we should be proud of that team, and we'll be just fine throughout the year. I want to tell you just a little bit of a tidbit story. I'm going to go back in time. Some of you old timers might remember this, but back when I was a child, growing up, I used to frequent the Badger games when I was 5 and on up, and my grandfather told me a story, and I had this confirmed by a number of people. But I remember back in the 30s and 40s, before Mendota became the Mendota Gridiron Club, there was a club that was formed called the Blotters and the Monday Morning Quarterback Club. And it was a bunch of businessmen that met at Rody's Steakhouse and places downtown, and they used to pass the hat, and that was their donation to Wisconsin football. Well, just prior to when Mendota was going to become named Mendota Gridiron, the businessmen were sitting around down at Rody's, and they were trying to figure out, what are we going to name this club? And they basically started talking, and they said, well, one guy said, I think because of we got to be a little bit nuts to root for this football team, I think we should name it after Mendota State Hospital. And that's how Mendota got its name, at least the first part of it, is these guys thought they were nuts for rooting for a team that they couldn't win a football game. So anyways, that's just a little tidbit, and I've had that confirmed by about 2 or 3 old timers that said that was the truth. And I know Fran Hoffman told me that story once when he was a member here, and I just thought you might want to know where we came from. So moving on, I have the pleasure and privilege to introduce our wide receivers coach, a former Cowboy, not a Dallas Cowboy, but a Wyoming Cowboy, and last coached with the Oakland Raiders, Ted Gilmore. Pat Richter, our former AD, went to a few Rose Bowls, and we were very prominent out in the West Coast. We went into a sort of a doldrum with Johnny Cota and lost 23 straight games. Does anybody remember who we beat?
Iowa.
23-17. You betcha. All right, we got some old timers. So anyways, that's my history lesson. Many ups and downs. Remember the black helmets. The Kenny Kreider and the Tom Domerses were our captains. It was a great time, and then we moved this into the John Jardine area, and I'll talk about that. So anyways, I would like to is there any new members and guests here tonight? Can you raise your hand, or someone introduce them, please?
Charlie Bush, long-time friend, kindergarten on, champion, 1953, Wisconsin, Middleton High School, Badger Conference.
Thanks, Ken.
Charlie Bush.
You bet. Thank you.
He graduated from kindergarten.
Anybody else here? I've got one over here, my brother Tim and his wife Terry Douglas, our new members tonight. Anyone else? Sounds good. Thank you for attending. Appreciate it. Anyone else over here? Tell us who it is. Thank you. Appreciate your membership. Thank you. Any past presidents here? Raise your hand, please. We got a few. I saw some that haven't been here before. So thank you for your support over the years. And now I want to introduce our guest speaker tonight, the leading receiver in Wisconsin football history, and now a spokesman for the Big Ten Network, Mr. Brandon Williams.
How's everybody doing tonight?
there's a new rule at Camp Randall that we'll be playing flag football the rest of the year. Not just kidding. All in the safety of our kids. But obviously, I don't know. I thought those calls were a little suspect. I'm going to give you a little bit of another chapter in my history book. So we're going on to John Jardine, the hiring of Elroy Hirsch, and then hiring of John Jardine that gave us a breath of hope when after the John Cody years. And I guess I'm going to go right to the cream of the crop in 1974 when we beat Nebraska, the #1 team in the country, 21-20, and I'm sure many of you were there. We had a 7-4 season, which we hadn't seen for some time. And if the 2 hits on Saturday were targeting and ejections, these 2 hits in this game would have been they'd have been suspended for the year, because Mark Zakula, our linebacker, clotheslined David Hum, their quarterback, and took him out in the second quarter. And that was one of the most brutal hits I had ever seen at that point. And then the next one was Terry Buss, our safety, broke the jaw of Sean O'Neill, their running back. So those would be targeting calls, I would say. But great game. Jeff Mack's 77-yard touchdown pass from Greg Bowling. In a time when Madison was known for other things, the Vietnam War and Sterling Ore bombings. Yes? Stand up. Thank you. What a memory. I sat in the upper deck that day in CC, and man, I tell you, I almost fell out cheering so loud. Thank you. Well, that win put a celebration on State Street that night. We about turned the town upside down. There were cars turned upside down. There were a lot of things that happened that night, but it was a great night in Madison. It gave us hope. During this time, Paul Chris' dad was an assistant coach for us, and between 72 and 77. And the club used to meet the Monona Club used to meet at places like Rhodey Steakhouse, the Left Guard, Hoffman House, and the Heritage House. And if we could get 50 people there, we were really doing good. But we're a far cry from that now. So anyway, first of all, I guess ending my little bit of a chapter there, do we have any new members and guests that would like to stand up and so we could acknowledge them? Anyone tonight? Full standbys. Everybody likes Fitzgerald. And now I'm going to introduce our defensive line coach, an All-American from Oregon State, played several years in the Canadian Football League, and now an All-American defensive line coach for the Wisconsin Badgers, Anoki Brechterfield. Oh, just 1 second here. I got one more note I got to say. Hold on a second. I had a note from a good friend of mine in Dallas, and I just want to let you know this. He sent me a note, and he's an executive director or executive vice president for the Dallas Cowboys. He wanted me to tell this to our group, that our school, our team, and our fans are a very big class act. And that's coming from Travis Clark from the Dallas Cowboys. I'll let you know that. Thank you all. I've got a little sunshine here, so we got your sunglasses on. Well, another great step in the right direction last week. Great improvement in all phases. Running game, blocking, you name it. The defense was unbelievable. And I'd like to see C.J. Beathard with the pressure he's going to get this weekend from that defense. He hasn't had it yet. So it's going to be another Big Ten border battle, as it always is. It doesn't matter who's playing this game. If it's the last place and the first place game, it's always a battle. And they're a much improved team, so it should be a great game. So anyways, I'd like to bring up our coach, Mr. Paul Christ.
I expect we'll have a good game down in Nebraska. I want to back up 1 week, because last week I tried to get Coach out of there quick. I knew he was up there to make a speech and what have you, but last week we had a birthday. Bucky Badger was 75 years old. How about that? I think we have a Bucky Badger in the house. And I think he's sitting right back there, and he's a member of Adora Good. Can you please stand up? Jim Stark, 1977, 78. All right, another quick little history lesson. Back in we're going into the McLean years. So think that we thought we had some hope. Dave McLean was hired in 78 and was through 85 and left us in a tragic mishap. But we finally got to a bowl game in 1981. And he was very successful in beating top-tier teams in his tenure, beating Ohio State 3 times. When we weren't very good, and we ended up winning 7 games about 3 or 4 times during his tenure. And I remember in 1981 at a Medora Good Club, and I brought my little memento to show you. Unfortunately, the ball is no longer inflatable because the bladder has decreased. It's been so old. And this is the first ball that I won at the Medora Good meeting. We beat Michigan, who was number 1. We beat Ohio State, who was number 16, and we beat Purdue, who was a very good team in the Big Ten. And that was my first win at Medora. So, what a year. It was a great year. In fact, I had bought my tickets to go to the Rose Bowl that year prior to when we lost to Iowa. That kept us from going to the Rose Bowl. And I went and watched Iowa get the pants beat off them by Washington. They never got the ball past the 35-yard line in the first half. But anyways, McLean gave us some hope. We went to the Hall of Fame Bowl. We went to a number of different bowls here. I think I got this mixed up here, but 81, 82 we went to a bowl game, and 84 we went to a bowl game. Was Garden State Bowl, lost to Tennessee, Independence Bowl, and the Hall of Fame Bowl. Pardon? Yep. Yeah, we had. I'm sure there's a lot of